The sky turned purple over New York City on a Tuesday morning. People stopped walking. Cars halted. Everyone looked up. The giant ship hovered silently above the United Nations building. It was smooth and silver, shaped like a giant teardrop. No engines were visible, yet it stayed perfectly still in the air. News cameras were already rolling when smaller craft emerged from the larger ship. They descended slowly toward the UN Plaza where armed soldiers stood in tight formation. World leaders had been rushed to the building after first detection of the object entering Earth's atmosphere 3 hours earlier. Kevin Mitchell adjusted his tie and took a deep breath. As the lead diplomat for North America, he never expected to be the first human to speak with aliens. His palms were sweaty. Next to him, Dr. Allison Wright clutched her tablet computer. Her knuckles were white. "Are you ready for this?" Kevin asked her quietly. Allison nodded. Not really. But who would be? The small craft landed with barely a sound. The door slid open, revealing a tall, thin figure. It had 4 arms and blue-gray skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Its large eyes blinked sideways as it surveyed the gathered humans. "I am Ambassador Zorlak of the Vexari," the alien said in perfect English. "I speak on behalf of the Galactic Council. We have been observing your world for some time." Kevin stepped forward as planned. "I am Kevin Mitchell, representing the United Nations of Earth. We welcome you in peace." Ambassador Zorlak tilted his head. "Your species shows promise. That is why I have come. The Galactic Council offers Earth protected status among the stars." The words caused excited whispers among the gathered officials. Protected status sounded good. It meant safety. It meant recognition. Inside the UN building 30 minutes later, Ambassador Zorlak stood before the emergency session of world leaders. His presentation showed holographic images of dozens of alien species and their worlds. "The Council includes 27 advanced civilizations," Zorlak explained. "For 12,000 years, we have maintained peace across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy." President Eleanor Vaughn leaned forward in her seat. "And what exactly does this protected status mean for Earth?" Kevin and Allison stood at the loading ramp of the alien vessel called Harmony of Stars. The ship was much larger up close than it had appeared from a distance. Its surface seemed to shift colors slightly as they washed, like oil on water. "Last chance to back out," Kevin said with a nervous smile. Allison shook her head. "Earth needs answers. We're going." Major Frank Phillips joined them, carrying a small duffel bag. The military advisor had been added to their team at the last minute by President Vaughn. "Ready when you are," he said quietly. "Though I still think we should have brought more security." Ambassador Zorlak appeared at the top of the ramp. "Please enter. We have prepared quarters for your comfort during our journey." The inside of the ship was surprisingly warm and bright. The walls glowed with a soft light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Their rooms were spacious but simple, with strange furniture that adjusted its shape when they sat on it. Nexus Station was enormous. Kevin, Allison, and Major Phillips followed Ambassador Zorlak through wide hallways, filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some walked on many legs. Others floated above the ground. Some were small as children, while others towered over the humans. "Stay close," Zorlak instructed. "The station houses representatives from over 50 worlds. Not all are friendly." Kevin noticed how other aliens looked at them. Some with curiosity, some with what seemed like disgust, a few with something that might have been fear. "Why are they staring?" he whispered to Allison. "We're new," she replied. "And from what Trex9 told me, most species spend centuries developing before they're contacted. Humans advanced unusually quickly." They were given rooms in what Zorlak called the visitor's quarter. The space was comfortable, but Kevin noticed small cameras in the corners. They were being watched. "We need to be careful what we say," Major Phillips warned, pointing discreetly at the cameras. That evening, they were invited to a welcoming event. Aliens from various council races approached them, asking questions about Earth. A tall, muscular alien with red-tinted armor introduced himself. "I am General Goruk of the Korgeth," he said in a deep voice. "Your world has impressive military potential. Your wars are creative. We prefer peace now," Kevin replied carefully. The general made a noise like a laugh. "Peace is for the weak. The council needs strong arms to maintain order." A slender, silver-skinned alien with large eyes approached next. "Ignore Goruk. The Korgath see everything as a battle. I am Zenith of the Zentari. We value knowledge and logic. What can you tell us about how protected worlds are treated?" Allison asked directly. Zenith blinked slowly. "Protection is logical. Small worlds cannot defend themselves. They provide resources. We provide security and advancement." Before they could ask more questions, a hush fell over the room. A group of robed figures entered. They seemed to float rather than walk. Their faces were hidden in shadow despite the bright lights. "The Whisperers," Trex9 said, appearing beside them. "They rarely show themselves. They are the oldest council members." One of the robed figures turned toward the human. Back on Earth, President Eleanor Vaughn sat at the head of a large table. Around her were leaders from major nations, top scientists, and military commanders. On screens before them played the video messages sent by Kevin and his team. "The Council's offer is worse than we thought," Kevin's image explained. "They want nearly half our resources for minimal technology that they will control completely." President Vaughn turned to her advisors after the message ended. Opinions. A man with glasses and a neat beard spoke first. He was Daniel Harper, the lead economic analyst for the United Nations. "Their offer would cripple our economy within 10 years. The resources they want control over are crucial for our own technology development." Daniel stood and pointed to charts displayed on a wall screen. "Rare earth elements, deep-sea minerals, and freshwater reserves. These are exactly what we need for our own future. Giving away 40% would set us back decades." Colonel Samantha Cruz, a stern-faced woman with her hair pulled back tightly, spoke next. "From a military perspective, we would become dependent on their protection. Once we surrender our resource independence, we have no bargaining power if they change the terms later." "Which they absolutely will," Daniel added. "The agreement allows them to increase their demands under certain conditions. Those conditions are vague enough that they could take more whenever they want." President Vaughn nodded slowly. "What about the technology they're offering? Is it worth considering?" Dr. Alan Reeves, head of the Global Science Council, cleared his throat. "We've analyzed what they've shared so far. Yes, it's advanced, but it's also carefully selected. They're offering medical technology that would extend lives, but nothing that would help us understand how it works. Clean energy, but in forms we would need to get from them. It's like giving a car without explaining engines." "They want to keep us dependent," Colonel Cruz said. President Vaughn stood and walked to the window. Outside, people gathered in the streets. Some carried signs welcoming alien friendship. Others protested against giving away Earth's resources. The whole world was watching and waiting. "There's something else," Dr. Reeves said, opening a folder. "We've been studying the biological samples Ambassador Zorlek allowed us to take. Human DNA has certain qualities not seen in the alien samples. Our brains process information differently. We adapt to new situations faster than any species they've encountered." "Is that significant?" the president asked. "Extremely. We think this is why they're interested in us beyond just our physical resources. Humans can solve problems in ways their species can't. Our creativity, our ability to make mental leaps. These are valuable traits." Colonel Cruz leaned forward. "So we have something they want that they're not talking about." Daniel Harper quickly typed on his tablet. "If we factor in the value of human innovation and creativity as resources, the deal becomes even more unbalanced in their favor." President Vaughn returned to her seat. "We need to prepare a response. Not a rejection yet, but a strong counteroffer. One that acknowledges our unique position." For 3 days, Earth's leaders worked together. Scientists shared research. Military leaders assessed threats. Economists calculated values. When they finished, they sent their analysis to Kevin with clear instructions. Meanwhile, on Nexus Station, Kevin, Allison, and Major Phillips carefully made their way to the meeting point mentioned in the mysterious message. They took different routes and checked for followers as they had been trained. Level 7, Section 12 turned out to be a maintenance area with few people around. As they approached the designated spot, a shadow moved from behind some equipment. "You came. Good." The voice was familiar. Trex-9 stepped forward, but not alone. Behind the young alien stood two other beings. One was small with blue-green skin, the other tall with 4 arms like Zorlak, but darker coloring. "These are representatives from other protected worlds," Trex-9 explained. "They have important information for you." The small blue-green alien spoke softly. "I am Lyra of the Nylori. My world was protected 50 years ago. Now we are little more than slaves mining our own planets for the Council's benefit." The taller alien nodded. "The same story is repeated across 20 worlds. We give, they take. We build, they own." Kevin looked at them carefully. "Why are you risking talking to us?" Lyra's large eyes blinked slowly. "Because you are different. We have watched your broadcasts. Humans question everything. You challenge authority. You think in ways we don't. The Council fears this about you," Trex-9 added. "They want your resources, yes, but they also want to control human development before you become too powerful." 3 days later, Kevin stood before the full Galactic Council again. Allison and Major Phillips flanked him on either side. The chamber was packed with representatives from all Council worlds. News of Earth's response had spread quickly through Nexus Station. Council President Ellover looked down from his high seat. "Has Earth considered our generous offer of protection?" Kevin stepped forward, his face calm but determined. "We have, and we have prepared our response." He activated a small device that projected images above their heads. The first showed Earth's oceans, mountains, and cities. "Earth thanks the Galactic Council for its offer," Kevin began. "We are honored to be recognized by such ancient and advanced civilizations." The aliens murmured approvingly. Ambassador Zorlak nodded slightly. "However," Kevin continued, "we must respectfully reject the current terms." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Some aliens stood up. Others made strange sounds. President Ellover raised his hands for silence. "Reject." Ellover's voice was cold. "No protected world has ever rejected Council protection." "That's because Earth is not seeking protected status," Kevin replied calmly. "Earth is proposing full membership in the Galactic Council." The chamber grew even louder. General Goruk of the Korgath shouted something in his own language. The whisperers huddled together, their robes moving as if in a wind that wasn't there. Allison stepped forward next to Kevin. "Our analysis shows that humans have unique qualities valuable to the Council. Our creativity, our problem-solving abilities, our art and music, our different way of thinking." She activated the next image, showing human innovations throughout history. Simple tools becoming complex machines. Early flight becoming space travel, all in a tiny fraction of the time it had taken other species. "We offer a fair exchange," Kevin continued. "Earth will share human innovation, art, and creative solutions. In return, we seek knowledge and technology exchange as equals, not as subordinates." Major Phillips spoke next. "Earth will maintain control of its own resources. We are willing to trade fairly, but not surrender what belongs to our world." President Ellover's face showed no emotion, but his voice was tight. "You misunderstand your position. Earth is vulnerable, unprotected. There are forces in the galaxy that would destroy your world without hesitation. We are prepared to defend ourselves," Major Phillips replied, "and to form alliances with those who treat us with respect." At these words, several council members from smaller worlds looked at each other. Lyra of the Nylori watched from her small seat in the lower tiers, her eyes wide. "This is unprecedented," Ellover said, "and unacceptable. The Council has standards, protocols. Earth cannot simply demand equal status. Kevin smiled slightly. We are not demanding. We are proposing a new relationship that benefits everyone, but we will not accept terms that treat our world as a resource to be harvested. He turned to address the entire Council. For too long, the Council has divided worlds into those who rule and those who serve. Earth offers a different path. Equal exchange, fair trade, mutual respect. The chamber grew quiet. Many aliens were leaning forward now, listening carefully. We have prepared a detailed counterproposal, Kevin said, sending the document electronically to all council members. We invite all interested parties to review it. President Elover stood suddenly. This session is suspended. The council leadership must discuss this. Unusual response. As the main council members filed out, many other representatives remained in their seats, reading Earth's proposal on their devices. Small groups formed, talking quietly together. Ambassador Zorlak approached the humans as they prepared to leave. You have created quite a disturbance, he said. His tone was hard to read. The council has never faced such a direct challenge. It's not a challenge, Allison replied. It's an opportunity. Zorlak looked at her for a long moment. Perhaps, but change comes slowly to the council, and some members will see this as a threat to their power. What do you think? Kevin asked him directly. The ambassador's forearms moved in a complex gesture. I think Earth has just announced its presence to the galaxy in a way no one expected. What happens next, no one can predict. As they walked back to their quarters, Trex-9 hurried to catch up with them. Many smaller worlds are discussing your proposal already, the young alien said excitedly. They have been waiting for someone to stand up to the council leadership. Major Phillips nodded. And the leadership? How are they taking it? News of Earth's rejection spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On thousands of worlds, beings gathered around communication devices to hear about the small blue planet that dared to say no to the Galactic Council. On Nexus Station, Kevin, Allison, and Major Phillips found themselves suddenly famous. Aliens would stop and stare when they walked past. Some would quickly move away. Others would try to approach them for private conversations. It's like we're celebrities and criminals at the same time, Allison said as they ate breakfast in their quarters. The food dispensers had been programmed with Earth recipes, but the taste was never quite right. Kevin nodded. And we haven't heard anything official from the council leadership in 3 days. That's because they're arguing among themselves, said Trex-9, who had become their regular visitor and unofficial guide. The Korgath want to send warships to Earth immediately to teach humans respect. Major Phillips looked up sharply. And the Zentari argue it would be too costly. The smaller council members are blocking any military action. It's chaos. Trex-9 seemed almost happy about this. Nothing like this has happened in 700 years. Later that day, they received an urgent message requesting their presence in a secure meeting room. When they arrived, they found Ambassador Zorlak waiting with a small group of aliens they hadn't met before. These are representatives from worlds that have concerns about current council policies, Zorlak said carefully. They wish to speak with you privately. Kevin was surprised to see Zorlak involved in this meeting. I thought you represented council leadership. The ambassador's forearms made a complicated gesture. I represent the Vexeri people first. The current situation has made many of us reconsider old alliances. One of the new aliens stepped forward. It had a long neck and smooth green skin. I am Speaker Jala of the Moraki. For too long, our people have provided resources to the council while receiving little in return. Your proposal interests us greatly. Another alien, short and stocky with thick fur covering its body, spoke next. The Kuldar stand with Earth. Your courage has inspired many who remained silent before. Kevin looked at them all. We appreciate your support. But what happens now? Ambassador Zorlak's expression was grim. General Goruk has already dispatched 3 Korgath warships toward your solar system. They claim it is just a precautionary measure, But we all know the Korgith. They prefer action to words. Major Phillips tensed. Earth needs to know this immediately. A message has already been sent, Zorlak said. But there is more. Several council members have begun reaching out to Earth directly, bypassing council protocols. They seek individual agreements. Allison saw the opportunity immediately. The unified council is fracturing. Yes, said Speaker Jala. For centuries, the founding species have controlled everything. Now many see a chance for change. Back on Earth, President Vaughn received reports of the approaching Korgith ships with surprising calm. In a secure underground facility, she met with Colonel Cruz and several scientists. Are we ready? The president asked. Colonel Cruz nodded. The technology Dr. Reeves adapted from Ambassador Zorlak's shuttle will work. We can detect their ships long before they reach us. Dr. Reeves pulled up diagrams on a large screen. The prototype defense system is online. It's based on principles we observed in their ship shields. Not perfect, but enough to surprise them. President Vaughn turned to a communications officer. Send word to Kevin. Tell him Earth is prepared. And send this message to all council worlds. Earth extends an open hand to those who wish to trade as equals. We have much to offer each other. On dozens of worlds, beings who had lived under council control for generations began to question the old ways. Art and music from Earth were shared secretly at first, then openly. Human stories, human ideas, human creativity. These spread from planet to planet. The Whisperers, oldest of the council species, called an emergency meeting of their own kind. For 3 days they remained in seclusion, considering what the arrival of humans meant for the future of the galaxy. General Goruk addressed his ship captains before they departed for Earth. We will show these humans the price of defiance. The Council has ruled for thousands of years. No primitive world will change that. But even as he spoke, 5 ships from other Council worlds changed course to follow the Korgith fleet. Not to join them, but to watch them. To ensure Earth had witnesses to whatever happened next. In their quarters on Nexus Station, Kevin received a new message from Earth. He read it and smiled. What is it? Allison asked. 5 days after Earth's rejection shook the Galactic Council, representatives from 5 minor council species requested a private meeting with the human delegation. The meeting was set in a neutral location, a garden area designed to accommodate many different life forms. Kevin, Allison, and Major Phillips arrived early. The garden was beautiful, with plants from dozens of worlds growing together. Water flowed in small streams between beds of colorful flowers and strange, twisting trees. It's peaceful here, Allison said. Hard to believe there's so much tension everywhere else on the station. Major Phillips remained alert, watching the entrances. Peace can be an illusion. The representatives arrived together. Lyra of the Nylori led the group. Behind her came Speaker Jala of the Moraki, the furry Koldar representative, and 2 others the humans hadn't met before. A tall, thin being with crystalline skin that sparkled in the light, and a squat, 4-eyed creature with tentacles where arms would be on a human. Thank you for coming, Lyra said. Her blue-green skin seemed brighter today, less dull than when they had first met her. What we are about to propose could change everything. The crystal being spoke in a voice like chimes in the wind. I am Prisma of the Lumina. For 3,000 years, my people have provided light technology to the Council. We are valued for our skills, but never as equals. The tentacle being gurgled before a translation came through their devices. Grok of the Tenta. We build the ships. We maintain the stations. Without us, the Council fleet would not fly. Yet we have no real voice. Lyra moved closer to the humans. We 5 represent worlds that the Council calls specialist species, valued for specific skills or resources, but kept from true power. Together with the Nylori, we form what could be called the middle tier of Council society. And what are you proposing? Kevin asked. Speaker Jala stepped forward. A new alliance, not with the Council as it exists now, but with Earth. A coalition of equals. We have watched what's happening. Lyra continued. The council is fracturing. The old powers fight among themselves. This is our chance, all of our chance, to create something better. The Kuldar representative growled softly. The Korgoth think they can intimidate Earth with their warships. They do not understand humans. No, they don't. Major Phillips agreed. But what exactly are you suggesting? Lyra looked at each of her fellow representatives, then back to the humans. A formal alliance. Our 5 worlds with Earth. Together we control key resources, technologies and skills that the Council needs. Together we can force them to negotiate new terms for everyone. Kevin considered this carefully. This is beyond our authority to agree to. We would need to consult with Earth's leadership. Of course, Lyra nodded. But time is short. The Korgoth ships will reach your system in 16 days. Other council members are already reaching out to Earth directly. We must act quickly or lose this opportunity. Allison had been quiet, thinking. Now she spoke. What would this alliance mean in practical terms? How would we help each other? Prisma's crystal body reflected rainbow patterns as they moved. The Lumina can provide advanced communication technology. We can help Earth establish instant links with all allied worlds. The Tenta build the best ships. Grok gurgled. We can teach humans to build better vessels. Fast. Strong. The Nylori understand biology like no others. Lyra added. We can help humans advance medicine by centuries in just a few years. Major Phillips was most interested in immediate concerns and defense. If the Korgoth attack Earth, what then? The Kuldar growled again, but this time it seemed almost like a laugh. The Korgoth think only they know war. They are wrong. The Kuldar were warriors before the Korgoth crawled out of their swamps. We have ships too. Smaller, yes, but faster. Smarter. We have pilots ready to help defend Earth. Kevin looked at the 5 representatives. This was far beyond what they had expected when they came to Nexus Station. Not just rejecting the Council's offer, but potentially forming a new power in the galaxy. We will send your proposal to Earth immediately, he said. I believe President Vaughn will be very interested. Later that day, back in their quarters, a message arrived from Earth. It was brief but clear. Alliance proposal approved in principle. Begin formal discussions. Earth is preparing welcome for representatives. Defense systems ready. Korgoth ships being tracked. Major Phillips smiled when he read this. They're in for quite a surprise when they reach Earth. Which surprises me more, Allison said. How quickly we adapted their technology, or how completely they underestimated us. Both, Kevin replied. That's the human way. We learn. We adapt. And we never accept being treated as less than we are. On the other side of Nexus Station, President Elover met with the Whisperers. The shadowy beings rarely spoke directly to anyone, preferring to communicate through written messages. But today was different. The balance shifts, one Whisperer said in a voice like distant wind. The old order weakens. It is just one primitive world, Elover argued. The Korgoth will deal with them. You do not see, another Whisperer replied. Humans think differently. They create. They question. And now, they unite others. This is just the beginning. 6 months passed. The Galactic Council chamber looked different now. The high seat where President Elover once sat alone was replaced by a circular table with seats of equal height. Representatives from 30 worlds sat together, including Earth. Kevin Mitchell no longer felt like a visitor as he took his place at the table. Beside him sat Allison Wright, now Earth's lead scientific advisor for interstellar relations. Major Phillips stood nearby, coordinating security with Kuldar warriors who had become Earth's strongest military allies. President Elover entered last, his golden skin looking duller than before. The balance of power had shifted dramatically since that day when Earth rejected the Council's offer. The Council recognizes Earth's representative, Elover said formally. You may present your case. Kevin stood. Thank you. 6 months ago, Earth proposed a new relationship between worlds. Today, we see the results before us. He gestured around the chamber where representatives from many worlds watched with interest, some with hope, a few with lingering anger. The Korgeth warships that approached Earth were met not with weakness, but with strength, Kevin continued. Their weapons could not penetrate the shields Earth developed, with help from our Lumna allies. General Gorik growled from his seat. The Korgeth had lost considerable influence after their failed show of force against Earth. 3 of their mighty warships had turned back when faced with Earth's unexpected defenses and ships from 5 other species flying alongside human vessels. More importantly, Kevin went on, the new alliance has proven that cooperation as equals benefits everyone. Trade between our worlds has increased. Knowledge is being shared, and no world is forced to surrender its resources against its will. Lyra of the Nylori stood next. Her people had flourished in recent months as fair trade replaced exploitation. The Nylori support Earth's proposal for council reform. All members should have equal voting rights. No species should control another. One by one, representatives from 20 worlds stood to voice support. The old power structure was crumbling before their eyes. President Elover finally raised his hand. The council has existed for 12,000 years. Change does not come easily to us, but it seems change has come regardless of our wishes. He looked directly at Kevin. Humans have accomplished in 6 months what other species could not achieve in centuries. You have reshaped the very foundation of galactic politics. Not alone, Kevin replied. We simply spoke what many had thought but feared to say. After the formal meeting, Kevin, Allison, and Major Phillips walked through the corridors of Nexus Station. Aliens from dozens of worlds nodded respectfully as they passed. Did you ever imagine this outcome when we first arrived? Allison asked. Kevin shook his head. I just knew we couldn't accept their original terms. Everything else happened because people started asking questions that should have been asked long ago. They entered a large observation room where Earth was visible on a huge screen. Ships from 7 different species orbited the planet, not as conquerors but as visitors and allies. On the surface, new buildings gleamed, embassies from other worlds, research centers where scientists from across the galaxy worked together. Ambassador Zorlak approached them. His position had changed too. He now represented the Vexari in the new alliance structure. The Whisperers wish to speak with you, he said to Kevin. This is unusual. They rarely speak directly to anyone. In a quiet chamber, 3 robed figures waited. Their faces remained hidden in shadows despite the bright lights. You have changed everything, one whisperer said, its voice like leaves rustling. We have watched the stars for eons. We have guided the council since its formation. Yet we did not foresee the impact of humanity. What happens now? Kevin asked. Another whisperer moved slightly. Now the galaxy enters a new age. The old hierarchies fall. New connections form. The future is uncertain, but brighter. We feared change, the third whisperer admitted. Now we see it was necessary. The council had become rigid, stagnant. Later, as the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Trex 9 came to say goodbye. The young alien had been appointed as official liaison to Earth. When you first arrived, I thought you were just another world to be protected, Trex 9 said. I never imagined you would protect us instead. Major Phillips smiled. That's what humans do. We help when we can. We fight when we must. And we never accept being treated as less than we are. As their ship departed Nexus Station, Kevin looked back at the massive structure. It was changing, just like the galaxy around it. New sections were being built, old barriers removed. What do you think the council will look like in another 6 months? Allison asked. I don't know, Kevin replied. But whatever it becomes, it will be built on respect and equality, not control and fear, and Earth will have a voice in shaping it. Their ship accelerated toward Earth, toward home. Behind them, throughout the galaxy, countless beings looked at the stars with new hope. The message had spread to every world. Change was possible. Freedom was possible. And it had all started because one small planet had the courage to say no to a bad deal and yes to a better future.